Okay, so I'm going to do a recap of The Gilded Age. As you know, we're in season three. Season four just aired tonight. So it starts out with us learning that Gladys has apparently been in her room since she got engaged to Hector. So she's not happy about marrying Hector. She wanted to marry the other guy who was a banker, and her mom shut that down because her mom wanted her to marry a duke, which Hector is a duke. So then it goes to Ada, who hired a psychic medium so that she could communicate with her husband or her departed husband, Luke. Agatha gets home and she shuts that down. Then Larry, who is George's and Bertha's parents, and Gladys is his sister. So they're all talking, and he's like, why didn't we invite Aunt Monica? And Aunt Monica is Bertha's sister. And so Bertha doesn't really want her family involved. I guess she's the only relative that, meaning Monica is the only relative that Bertha talks about or brings the family around. So she does not want her to come to Gladys's wedding. Um, I am getting a little bit more appreciation for Agatha in some ways. I mean, yes, she is a total bee at times and she's kind of rude, but she does speak the truth in some ways, even if it is a little brash. So, and I do think she has a good heart. I just think that life, dealt her a hand because she married a man that she didn't want to marry that was apparently really cruel. So, I think she enjoys her freedom, but she also kind of has the old town mentality where it's the old rich and it's their own group, and that's kind of how it should stay. So, anyways, then it goes to Jack, who sold his clock and his patent for $600,000, which him and Larry are splitting it, so he gets $300,000, which is like millions of dollars in today's money. In the show, they say, "Oh wow, Jack, you won't have to work again." Like that's how much money it is, like in that time. Oh, I missed one. So Peggy is visiting Dr. William Kirkland, who they're kind of sweet on each other, but Dr. Kirkland's mother, Elizabeth, no, she is not having it. I love her, by the way, though, because she played on the Cosbys, and I always just thought she was so beautiful and poised. So it's fun that she's playing on this show. But yeah, I don't really like her character that much because she's really snooty and she's kind of like a Mrs. Russell. So, anyways, let's see. Peggy spoke to a group of women, and Mr. Fane was there. So, sorry, Mrs. Fane was there. As you know, Mr. and Mrs. Fane are getting divorced, which is like a huge scandal because Mr. Fane is having a relationship with another woman. And so now Mrs. Fane is going to have to move to Newport. So she's looking for a house out there, and she's not going to be going to Gladys's wedding. So then um, I really think that Mr. Russell likes that Aunt Monica is there. And because she's like very opinionated. Basically, she's like her sister, but she has a different like thought process about like society. She doesn't really care about having a status, which Bertha cares only about having like money, status, and power. So I do find that very interesting. And so Duke's sister has also come for the wedding, and her name is Lady Sarah, and she is definitely like you can tell that they have a close relationship, and she's probably older than him, and so she probably just tells him what to do, and he just listens to it. Um, oh, so when they were having a dinner all together with Aunt Monica, like the Russell family, and then Hector and his sister, um, Bertha was drinking her coffee, and the handle from the coffee broke. And at the end of the night, Mr. Russell and Mr. George Russell and that's why Bertha were talking, and he found out that Bertha did that on purpose because she didn't like what Monica was wearing because it didn't she says she looked like a cook, and she's dining with the Duke, basically. So I just thought that was very interesting. And George said that they're an interesting couple because he really wants business, and he wants his name to be known in business, and she wants her name to be known in society. So I find that very interesting. So while they're getting ready for Gladys's wedding, and they're hoping that she comes out of her room, J.P. Morgan actually shows up to speak to Mr. Russell and says that he's pulling out of the deal, like the bank. He's not going to. J.P. Morgan's not going to have anything to do with Mr. Russell because the banks are belly up right now, and he feels like if something happens, then they all lose their money, and so that's why he's not wanting to do it. But Mr. Russell is very sure about what he wants, and he wants to have that railroad from like Chicago to I think he wanted it. Well, I don't know if Los Angeles around that time, but it was, at least I know, from Chicago to like New York. He wanted to run, and he also went to the Midwest in the last episode to like scope out that so he could get the railroad, so, buy the land to get the railroads. So yeah, so J.P. Morgan basically just said, we're not going to work with you, and hope you don't lose your money type thing. And then so this part, it did bother me. I did not like this part. So Mr. Russell went to go talk to his wife, and he was just saying that I don't understand why it's not enough for Gladys just to be happy. If Gladys wants to marry a banker and, have a summer home in Newport, then that should be enough. And Bertha is like, she's marrying a duke, like she's gonna have power and influence. And it's like, Mr. Russell's looking at it like he wants her just to be happy and be who she wants to be. And Mrs. Russell it's like she's not really connected with her daughter. She doesn't realize that Gladys doesn't want that lifestyle. She doesn't care about that. Her own, meaning Mrs. Russell, Bertha, her like own inhibitions are in the way of Gladys's, and that makes me sad because now Gladys is marrying someone she really doesn't want to marry. So anyways, that's such a bummer. So Gladys does end up marrying the Duke. Her dress is gorgeous, by the way. But yeah, she does marry the Duke, and it ends the episode basically with her saying like, I'm not ready to consummate the marriage. And he's like, well, we must do difficult things. It's only gonna hurt the first time. Well, she asked, is it gonna hurt the first time? And he said yes, and it's gonna be awkward, but we just need to get those things out of the way. And I don't know, I'm gonna be interested to know if Hector changes when they get back to England or the UK. I want to know if he's going to change, because he seems nice, but then I don't know about him, because his sister was really rude, and they really, really cared about getting that money. So I just wonder how he's going to treat her. So what did you guys think? I want to know your opinions. Let me know.